I'm Gary Yost. I was the leader of the team that created 3D Studio and 3ds Max. I am vice president of mental images. I'm a photographer, I'm a dad, and I'm a teacher. In 1985, I had convinced Tom Hudson, who was writing software for the Atari ST, to work on a 3D modeling application for the Atari ST. And Tom and I came out with CAD 3D 1.0. In 1988, we signed the contract with Autodesk to do all this. It was a royalty-based agreement with advances against royalties. It was, pretty much a speculative project on Autodesk's part. So we designed a package that was based on the philosophy of being a Swiss Army knife for anyone who wanted to do 3D visualization. We have the Rock Band philosophy of putting a team together where everyone has to really meld in order to create a synergistic outcome. The original team was just 2 engineers, me as a designer, Jack Powell as a tech writer. When Autodesk asked us to do this 3D thing, we stepped back and spent a few months thinking about, what were all of the things people did with 3D. And at that point, 3D was basically industrial design, architectural visualization, things like that, things that people made that they wanted to visualize in advance. So we designed a package that was extremely flexible. We started seeing people using 3D Studio for television commercials. One of the early commercials was a piece Tim Miller, who later founded Blur, did for Sprint, where he did the pin drop in a photorealistic way, and that was 3ds DOS R1. We didn't know you could do anything photorealistic, so that was pretty exciting. Within a year of shipping R1, it became obvious that there was a real market there. There were hundreds and hundreds of plugins created for the iPass interface of 3D Studio, but none of them really rose to the level of integration that we had intended. And that was really one of the primary impetus for us to create the Windows version in the first place. It was extremely challenging for us. We all worked out of our houses, and we were doing this all with dial-up modems. And for the first 5 or 6 weeks, we attempted to do this, and it just absolutely didn't work. And we were within just a few days of canceling the entire Max project. And luckily, Gus Gruba, who was one of our contractors, had just heard about the ISDN-based system, and within 30 days, we were all hooked up with ISDN. We were that close to Max never happening. We had 4 or 5 years where it was extremely challenging for us. It's no exaggeration to say that we were working between 110 and 120 hours a week. We joke that we were on the deferred life plan. But the bottom line is we had bitten off way more than a development group of 4 or 5 people should have ever attempted. We actually made the sale in 1997, but it wasn't until February, March of 1999 when we were really out of the programming and development group. So it was a 2-year transition that was extremely important to bring the Autodesk engineering staff up to speed and to let go. And although it wasn't easy, there were a lot of extremely talented people at Autodesk, and it ended up working out very well. The single greatest thing that we're proud of is the fact that the open architecture is so robust. I don't know exactly how many plugins are out there now in 2010, but I'm sure it's over 5,000. And it has been heartening seeing things like what Tim Miller did at Blur, and Alex Roman and his piece, The Third and the Seventh, was just an absolute vindication of, for all of the work that we put into this. To see someone so creative do something that was so lovingly crafted made it all worthwhile, because that was what we intended when we originally created the product, to make that kind of creativity blossom.